Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 140th episode of the GeekVerse podcast, the GeekVerse podcast. More importantly, the last day of our Comic-Con coverage. We have many other podcasts coming out this week that's fun comic book related, but the last of the Comic-Con coverage, I am the getting ready to ride off into the sunset, Travis Snell.
I'm the Shmee lovin' Dylan Musk. Very tasty.
Holy shit.
What is it? What does she sound like? Quieter version?
Oh!
Taylor's speechless. Wow.
I'm the stranger Taylor Field.
I kind of saw that coming. Predictable. Obvious storyline. Not deep plot.
Well, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to break down the Marvel panel. Unfortunately, we talked about this with DC. We were hoping for Infinity War. We did not get it, so we're going to talk about some of that stuff. We did get a Thor trailer. We did get some cool news, but no Infinity War trailer. You know, they give us a lot of good stuff, so I'll give them a pass, but damn, I'm disappointed. I'm happy for the people there.
Yeah.
They got to see it, but sitting at home, this is the second year in a row they've done this to us, because I think last year they ended on Guardians 2, and they didn't show us stuff, and it was just like, oh, I just want to see...
Do they even care about the fans? Honestly, that's what I'm asking myself.
Well, I think some people Hunka Hunka might feel that way when they tune in later this week. Maybe
Those are some interesting fellows, for sure.
But Marvel, I just want to see Thanos throw a fucking moon at the Avengers. You know, once I heard that, I just want to hear it. So okay, let's do this before we get the news. Movie comes out May of next year, obviously. When do you think we get our first trailer? Because I honestly thought this was a good time, because let's say August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. So 10 months. So maybe it's still a little longer out. My best guess is
my prediction is you
November.
unlock the trailer once you've watched all of Defenders and all the other Marvel
That'd
shows.
be sick. All of them, yeah. But you gotta watch them all in succession.
Yeah.
My guess,
without sleeping.
Even though this feels so long, I'm thinking October, November. So when Thor comes out, it'll have that attached to it. So that's my guess. I'll go late October.
I'm gonna guess on Thor, on the day of Thor.
On the day of Thor?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm hoping it's earlier, to be honest. I don't want to wait that long, but...
What day is Thor coming out again?
November, I think it's 5th.
November?
Yeah.
I could see either November or Star Wars. Like,
so they're not gonna... You don't think... You think there's a chance they won't drop it for Thor?
no, I mean, it could either be Thor or Star Wars.
Star Wars is in December, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to think of, like, what reason they have, like, or what kind of event or something they could use to just drop it. Unless they just drop it out of the blue.
You can kind of drop that whenever.
Yeah, I guess it's big enough. So, yeah, we'll keep you updated whenever... I swear, if they drop that while I'm on my hiatus, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. I'll get on my soapbox. I'll get my soapbox somewhere. So let's talk about the trailer we did get. We did a trailer. Actually, go watch our initial, we call it our appetizer thoughts. But we watched it again. We're gonna talk a bit more in depth about it. Taylor, what are your more expanded thoughts on the Thor Ragnarok trailer too? Because you said it's better than the first one. I think it's kind of maybe just a little lower, but that's just because that first one caught me so off guard. But you sounded very confident. You're like, better than the first one. Tell me why.
I thought, the kind of humor they were popping off in that trailer was just it was very well done and smooth and...
Innocent humor that Taylor Field loves.
Innocent humor. Like when Hulk or Bruce Banner's in the thing, he's like, did I win? And Thor's like, no, not even close.
I beat you easily.
Yeah. Like, I love that, because, like, Bruce Banner, throughout all of this, he looks so innocent and like, what's going on? And just, he's just along for the ride. I think that's great from just the serious, kind of depressing Bruce Banner kind of feel we've gotten from him before. Like, he's in a world where if he turns to Hulk, it doesn't have any kind of repercussions. I mean, he doesn't have to feel the regret of it.
Yeah.
I don't know, I felt like, it expanded and showed a little bit more of what's going on with Thor's kind of world and what's happening with Asgard and kind of this new Kate Blanchett?
Yeah, Hela is
her name. Which I didn't know anything about her, or she was a villain, but
she's
it's cool
kind of like
to
a
see.
ruler of death in a way, in like Asgardian.
Okay.
Well,
There's killed a lot of people.
There's gonna be a lot of that. Like there's her. Obviously, you got Sir Kick around, who's like he's like a kind of fable. He's a fire giant. He's a demon, so he's like this big thing in Thor like mythology, and he's like a big character. So I think that's a lot to do with characters that have impending doom or have to do with death or hell, or because he says Ragnarok means the end of Asgard, right? So it's kind of like the end is nigh sort of characters.
Well, this seems pretty cool. I mean...
Did you like her in the trailer?
I liked her in the trailer, yeah. Like, I liked her a bit more in this one than the first one again.
We didn't get much of her in the first one. I think the first one was a lot of her, like, standing around, and I think we had that shot of her catching the hammer, but I think we got actual dialogue from her this time, and even
Definitely.
stuff that like sorry to cut you off, but like when she says I'm not what, did she say like I'm not a destroyer, but I'm not a hero either?
No, I'm not
a god, or
I'm not a monster.
Yeah, but I'm not a hero either. Or something, I can't remember what it was, but it was pretty much. She looks like she's going to be like levels of gray, and I think I like that. I think we've talked about how Marvel lately is improving on their villains. If you look at Doctor Strange, Guardians, Spider-Man: Homecoming for sure, and Thanos is rumored to be really popular. Like it looked like they did a good job with him. So I think this trailer gave me confidence. This is another villain that I think is going to be a good addition.
Yeah, that's what I really kind of look for, like in movies like nowadays, because. I mean, villains aren't just black and white, like this and that. Like, they have to have so much more depth and perspective to them, like, with their point of view. And Marvel's definitely taken that approach, and we saw it especially in Spider-Man, you're right. So it's really cool to kind of see her kind of saying, like, I'm not this and I'm not this. I'm the goddess of death. I'm these things. And so, I mean...
Even that title, though, sounds really bad. Sorry,
I'm the goddess of death.
You're the goddess of death. You can make whatever title you want. I'm not gonna
that sounds like a line Regina George would use.
Yeah, that's tough to get past on a Tinder profile. You know, she looks cool, likes dogs, long walks on the beach. Oof, goddess of death. I don't know about that.
Sticks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
It was cool. I didn't think they needed to show the last clip with the fire dude.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been okay with that not in there, but then it gets me excited at the same time.
Yeah, I'm a little mixed. I think that's something I would have rather waited and see during the movie.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know. Because now we know that's coming, and like that's gonna be a big thing while watching the movie is like waiting for that guy to come up, and now we know that intensity is gonna come there. And obviously, we only saw like a quick 2-second segment of it, but that's like I'm like mixed on this trailer, mostly positive I'd say, but that to me I definitely wish they held that back.
Yeah. Well, can I play devil's advocate? I guess the only thing is I think I'm with you guys. If I take my fanboyism out of it or whatever ism, I think I agree with you because I feel like that's going to be near the end of the movie, like a big finale, which will be great. I don't know if this was purposely or whatnot. There was, I think, a couple months ago, like a Funko Pop, of course, came up of Surtur, and people were wondering if it's
Funko Pop,
like those, you know, those little plastic people with big heads. Yeah. So one came out of that. So I'm not sure if it was this. Hey, it kind of got accidentally spoiled. Let's reveal it. I still think even the Funko Pop, they could have just ignored it and not.
Well, I have never heard of that.
Exactly.
Thing, so.
Yeah. So I think the only thing I guess from the positive I can lay out is it looks cool in the trailer, and two, I imagine people lost their minds like I did when I saw it. You look at our trailer reaction.
Yeah.
Like, there was rumors, and with Ragnarok, you kind of thought, oh, he might be in this. I like the confirmation, but it's kind of like eating McDonald's, as we talked about earlier. It feels good in the moment, but I think the more points you guys make, I kind of regret. It's like,
but even then, like, okay, you've seen the Funko Pop version of them, but how epic would it have been to see that for the first time on the big screen as opposed to having it spoiled here? And I didn't need that, and I don't think a lot of other people needed that to, you know, be sold on going to see this movie.
The trailer was great already.
Because the villain of the Goddess of Death, what is her name?
Hela. Yeah.
Hela, yeah. Hela, she looks great. She looks hella good on her own.
Oh, look at that!
That was not even good. 100 other
that
people
was
have done it for me.
good.
But no, she looks great on her own. At least I think she does. So I didn't need that to be, to grip me and to say, oh, you know, she's cool, but I need a fire giant to make me sold on to see this. And to me as well, Doctor Strange came out. I guess that's been a few Marvel movies before now. Now, by the time this one comes out, it'll be 3 before, but
it'll be an entire year because Strange came in November.
He is similar to Dormammu in at least from my perspective, he is, and that he's like some big guy from another dimension.
Very different character though. Dormammu is all about mind games and chess games.
I mean strictly on the look factor and the scope and the epicness of them.
Yeah,
and yes, I've only seen a 2-second clip of Fur.
Surtur. He's not going to be a floating head, though. He's going to be a full-on body, dude with a sword. That's where Dormammu is just a floating head, right?
Sure.
Yeah. That's just my point.
As for the rest of the trailer, though, I like that we see, that Hulk is going to be a bigger part of this movie, because I wasn't sure from the first trailer if he would more... I had a feeling that Bruce Banner would be in it, but I didn't really know how much. And now it kind of seems like they're going to be buddying up for a lot of this movie. And then I don't know the name of the female character.
Valkyrie,
who teams up with him. She looks really cool. And Loki as well. I love that blue suit he had. That was so cool. So I'm excited to see him team up. Obviously, for newer viewers, I still haven't seen Thor 2. So story-wise, I don't know what is most recently happened with Loki, but I'm excited to see that team up. And then trailer-wise in general, I think this one's like pretty close for me on the scale of the first one. Yeah. It set up a lot of these characters. It introduced Hulk. This one didn't introduce Doctor Strange, so it doesn't have that component for me. And Valkyrie, this isn't her introduction either, right?
This is her first movie, yeah.
But I mean like for trailer.
Oh yeah, she was the first trailer, yeah.
Less than this one, to be fair. But
she's the one that like they kind of look like she has a hand in putting Thor in that arena, I think, because she seems to be partners with the Grandmaster, aka Jeff Golden.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see that team up. I think that's going to be really fun. And then the villain, similar as the first trailer, I think she looks great. I love the look of like those antlers and her like nails and just the way she like squeezes that hammer and just has that power, that strength that we haven't like we've kind of seen that, but not really. Like Thor's always kind of been like it seems like he's like almost the most powerful of the whole Avengers squad, just because he is an alien. He's a god from another planet. So I had one more point. What was my one more point? I don't remember. So you go ahead, Travis.
Okay. I'll jump off point you said when you said you thought Banner would be in it. I actually didn't think Banner was going to be in that much, to be honest. I thought at the end of the movie, Hulk may turn into Banner, and because in the storyline in comic books, lots of times Hulk will take over and refuse to turn back to Banner, and I thought that's what would be happening here, and it may happen, but I was surprised about the amount. Like, they show him driving a spaceship, so I was surprised, and I like it because they have a good back and forth. Yeah, they talk about that in the original Avengers, like they set up that kind of fun rivalry they have, and they already have it here. That line, the two ones that make me laugh so much is that about like, oh, I easily won. And at the end, when Hulk, I love seeing Hulk talking. That happens in comic books, animation. I love, let's get to that point now. He can get past growling. I love the like, oh, we're so similar. Like, I'm like a fire and you're water. He's like, I think we're both fire. And he's like, well, I'm a smoldering fire and or like, I'm a massive, huge fire and you're like a smoldering, like, little fire. Like, I think that's going to be the strength of this movie. I actually think the villain will be great, but I think the strength, the biggest thing we're going to talk about is their chemistry. Loki's back. I love Loki. He's one of my favorite villains, just movies and comics. I'm looking very excited to see what his role in this is, especially because now we do know he's going to be in Infinity War. That was confirmed last week. So I'm excited to see, is this more of him stamping the hero turn, or is he going to, once again, maybe be up to some tricks and jump to the bad side? But yeah, the blue suit looks amazing. I don't know if they're going to show Doctor Strange, to be honest.
One thing I was just thinking about is if this Infinity War trailer just dropped, or I guess it's not officially released yet, but it's coming out soon. Yeah. And Doctor Strange, as we have seen from like the recap of it, is in that trailer as well. So it makes sense for him to be like in the third trailer for me. And I think they will show him. I think they just because he's a great actor. He's a recognizable actor, so I think they'll put him in there for that, in that sense. But now that I think about it more, right after the trailer, I love Doctor Strange. You can go back and check out our review if you want to hear why. But I was a little disappointed. I'm like, oh man, I really want to see him. But now, thinking that he's in another trailer for the Infinity War team up, it makes sense that they would hold that off until the third trailer. And hell, maybe they won't even show it in the third trailer. I think they will.
Yeah, I think you made a good point. I didn't think they were going to, but I think you made a point if he's another recognizable name and a face. I think he'll get the same type of screen time that Serg on this trailer, of just like a quick 5-second, hey,
I think that's what I want.
Yeah,
I just want that like reminder that he's in there almost.
Yeah, and for other people to know too, of like, hey, Doctor Strange, or for most people, hey, Benedict Cumberbatch is in this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything more. Yeah, Thor looks great. Action looks great.
I really love that scene I mentioned in our trailer reaction with Hulk against that giant wolf. Mm-hmm. That looks pretty awesome.
And like, there's one point where Thor and Loki have these like laser guns, and they're just shooting like there looks like a bunch, like almost hundreds of different races around, and this movie just looks wacky and insane. It looks.
They got those guns from Vulture, actually. So.
Oh wow, he's in this movie too. It does. It's funny. It looks like people are going to compare it a lot to Guardians, but to me, it has that vibe, but it still feels different. This feels more I think I compared it last time where Guardians to me felt like cool classic rock, where this feels like heavy metal. And that's not just because they use a Led Zeppelin song. Like, just the imagery of, like, Surtur, the wolf, like I said, when they were showing all these different type of races and aliens shooting them with guns, it just looks so cool. It looks like it's almost in, like, a Star Wars type of setting, honestly. Like, aliens, like...
I get some Doctor Strange vibes. I get some Wonder Woman vibes.
I get, like, a big blender of stuff. I hope that blender will lead to something good and
great
not a
smoothie.
messy. Yeah,
I want a great smoothie.
Yeah, and not a messy like oof. This kind of tastes a little tangy, you know. So I really like this trailer. I think I'm the exact same as Dylan, where I like it a lot. It's just like a little bit below the first one, but I think the first one had that advantage of we weren't expecting that much. It reminded me of Logan when it was just called Wolverine 3. And we're like, okay, cool. It's Jackson's last time. What has it had? And it happened. So I think I like this trailer a lot. I think it's what trailers have we seen this weekend?
A lot.
Justice League. It might be my favorite trailer of the weekend because I like the humor, I like the action, and I like the setup. And you guys already talked about her a lot, but Hela, I think she's going to be phenomenal. She looks like she has power and strength, but she kind of looks like a little insane at times. Like there's that one shot of her, like I think she's like holding Thor by the throat and just like yelling at him, just like, "What were you a god of?" Like,
and when she summons those like Pegasi from the sky, that looks so cool.
Yeah, that like the imagery of that I've never that to me when you said Wonder Woman, the imagery of that, and I guess it's maybe because they're gods, that felt like Justice League. Like, it feels like it's shot differently than a Marvel film, bigger scope. So yeah, I really like the trailer. I'd have to think about this whole weekend, but I really like this trailer. I cannot wait for November. I think it's just going to be kind of a balls to the wall fun movie. So and Jeff Goldblum will be great. So.
Yeah. When that cutscene in Doctor Strange, we got to see Thor talking to him. Weren't they saying that Loki was on Earth and they were trying to find him? Because I'm just wondering how that plays out then with this. Because it looked like he was captured in the Thor trailer. So I'm wondering just timeline-wise for this movie, how it's going to happen.
I think all that, I could lay it out for you, and if you want off-cast, you could, because it'd be a trash Tolima. I think all that Doctor Strange, Loki, and Thor with long hair stuff is going to happen the first 30 minutes of the movie, or 20 minutes, because Thor in that Doctor Strange scene has long hair. He doesn't have long hair in this movie. So, and we've seen clips of him with long hair, so I think kind of he's on this mission to go find Loki, and then shit hits the fan. It's that thing of maybe he put Loki in a prison, but it's this thing of, you know, the enemy of my enemy is a friend, you know? So I think that's where Loki comes in. So I think Doctor Strange will have I think his role is just going to be helping, literally finding Loki. Yeah. I'll doubt even Doctor Strange will even fight or do anything this. I think it'll just be more of a guide and some fun back and forth. So I think that's the beginning portion. And that's why I like, even though because we were looking at some stuff online, even though I feel like with Sir, I think you guys did make good points, and I think I have converted that now that the hype's over, I don't think they should have showed it. But I still think it's the same thing as Justice League. They didn't show enough of it to be in line. I can kind of figure the beginning out with Thor's hair, so I kind of know, I think, how this movie starts. But the rest of it, we don't know when the Thor and Hulk fight happens. We don't know how much Banner's in it. We don't know. What if those scenes we saw of Banner are the only Banner scenes and the rest are Hulk? So that's still a level of mystery.
I like it from the perspective that I had no idea who that character is. Yeah. And now I'm going to look into him and learn a little bit about him before the movie. So rather than just being like, that guy looks badass, but I don't know the history or story behind him at all. So there is that perspective. And the last thing I wanted to say is just double up that I like the humor in this trailer. We mentioned the fire joke, but I also really like the joke at the start where he's like, "Yeah, I just lost my hammer yesterday." Like it's pretty fresh. Like I thought that was hilarious. Yeah. So I'm really excited for this movie.
If you like that, you should watch What We Do in the Shadows. It's the guy that directed this movie. It's really good.
What do you and Taylor in the Shadows, or
no? What You Do in the Shadows? It's a movie about vampires. It's really good. Either way, I
don't think I want to see that.
It's fuck. Let's talk about this. Captain Marvel, there's a lot of news. They also showed a Black Panther trailer we didn't get, which that to me made sense because we had just got a trailer in June. So I knew going in, they were going to show stuff at Comic-Con, but we weren't going to get that because to release a trailer in the public in June and July would be kind of idiotic. So I knew that we weren't going to get, but apparently the Black Panther...
I would like to see it because I didn't like the first Black Panther trailer.
Really? It's so fucking good.
I can't even remember.
You don't like it either?
No, I liked it.
Oh, yeah. It's like crack.
Lame.
It's lame?
It's lame.
Oh, it's so fucking good. Anyway, so they showed that apparently a trailer that blew people away again. Captain Marvel, a lot came out about this because I feel like they've been talking about this for a while. We were sitting here last year when Brie Larson was cast, #Travis told you, and ever since then, it's been pretty silent. We got a couple of directors. It's a pair of a man and a woman. They've done some stuff that looks like I've never not seen much of their stuff, but I hear good things, so that's good. But not much has been said about them. So I'm going to hit you with the first thing. Nick Fury has been, this was rumored a few weeks ago, he's been confirmed in this movie to be, I don't know whether a co-lead or maybe this is the early days of S.H.I.E.L.D. because we'll get in the time frame in a second. So he's confirmed and he got 2 eyes. Taylor, what do you feel about this?
I'm down to see him with another eye. That's always a cool thing. I think it's going into the 90s. I think that's kind of cool.
I was going to say that. You fucker.
Well, you asked me. I mean, I didn't know. What am I supposed to talk about?
I said we had 3 things to talk about. First thing, Nick Fury. But you know, whatever. It's set in the 90s, you bastard. My last cast for my A's, and you just
I can only talk about an eye for so long. I don't know how to hype that up.
Eye for an eye.
Well, not the eye. I mean, how do you feel about Nick Fury being in this movie? Because when was the last time you saw Nick Fury? Yes, that's what I mean. It's important. It was Avengers: Age of Ultron.
At least a year.
Yeah. So how do you feel? The 2 eyes thing is weird, but how do you feel about him being in like a movie as like kind of a co-lead?
It'll be good. I would have loved to have seen him in like a sequel to Age of Ultron to see what he's been up to. More so, in
just
the
a Nick Fury movie?
No, not Nick Fury, but have him pop up in not like Spider-Man. That wouldn't work very well. But just pop up in.
He's in Infinity War.
Okay, well that's good. I want to know what he's been up to. Like what is he
Cobbling shoes
doing? Cobbling shoes.
Well, maybe he'll have incredible foresight in this movie and say, you know what am I going to be doing in 2019?
Yeah. Looking for Shmi.
Losing an eye. Looking for Shmi.
Yeah, that's how he lost his eye.
Whoa.
I think it'll be cool to see him with, back in the day when he had 2 eyes. That'll be a fun little, not really an Easter egg, but just something interesting. And yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, it's been a while since I've seen that guy. Mm-hmm. And like, I haven't rewatched any movies recently actually that he was in either. So yeah, it's been a while since I've seen old Nick Fury, and I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I talk about this on Superhero Roundup, so you can go back. I'm excited about this because we haven't seen him in a Nicole in a while. The thing that, and now we'll get into the time frame and other stuff after, but the thing about him in the time frame, I think this is smart because this doesn't guarantee his safety now for Infinity War. Because before there was rumors of him being in this movie, but we had no idea it was set in the 90s. So he can be alive in the 90s, but Infinity War or Avengers 4, he could still die. So that's one of these things I do like from that aspect, that he could die in those movies and, he's back in this one, but it's in the past, so it's fine. So I like that. It's set in the 90s, which I don't know. I like it because it's something different. It's something I was not expecting, so right off the bat, they catch me off guard. I'm excited. The only thing that makes me worry, the good thing Captain Marvel does a lot of fighting in space, so maybe they'll write off that way. If she's been around the 90s, Iron Man in real time does take place in 2008, so that's almost 20 years, and I wonder why she hasn't been involved or why we haven't heard of her. I imagine because Marvel's a great storyteller, they will tell me this and why she has not been around. But that's my first question that's raised. Is, okay, if this takes place in the 90s, which I think could be fun, and they can do a lot of throwbacks and whatnot, and you can meet younger characters like Nick Fury or other cameos, where does she fit in the future now? And even with Infinity War, So that was my question at the end. That's cool, but that leaves me very intrigued of what they're going to do with it. Taylor, you have any input on the 90s aspect? And they're taking the Wonder Woman cue of doing a prequel, I guess.
Awesome.
So, like,
we got a female main character.
Yeah, in the past, the war, a captain.
I've got kind of vibes like, I wonder how it's going to be like, because it reminded me of like Captain America, kind of like his origin story, I guess, going back in the past and like see some like again early S.H.I.E.L.D. and just see what's going on really. So I think that's kind of cool. Like,
and since they hook up, that's
it's like. It's not super far in the past, which is okay, because it'll have still some references to really what's going on, like in today, like with the current Marvel films and stuff. I think.
And even to cut you off, like you look at Captain America was in the past. The beginning of Ant-Man, remember, like took place in the past when it was like Michael Douglas and like young, like mocap. Like they've done a lot of like flashbacks, and you can have someone like Tony Stark's dad appear again, like he's always been around. So that's what I mean. Like it won't be like like Bruce Banner's in the corner making some crack, but it could be like characters we know and love. So.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be interesting. I've always had that kind of... It's piqued my interest when Marvel's gone back, like you said, with those little, like, flashbacks and stuff. Cause
really? It's the first time I've heard about it.
I think it's interesting. Like, even in Civil War, when we got to see, like, Tony Stark doing that memory with his parents.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's cool to see these things, because there's so much origin and stuff that we don't really know, unless you're a comic book fan.
And even then, they change stuff for the movies, right? So it's like, it's still, like, a new continuity most of the time. It's just, like, based on, so... What about you, Mr. Muss?
My initial thought is, no thanks. I'd rather progress forward. But upon thinking about it more, like, you guys make some good points. It's not that long ago. And thinking about the other characters that we have, like Doctor Strange or Iron Man, Thor. Maybe not Thor, but there's a lot of these characters that we already know, like, where their story begins. And so you can't really do a prequel. So, this is an opportunity, I guess, with a newer character to actually go in the past. And I mean, they must have a reason for going back to the 90s. They have something they want to say, or some sort of character development, whether it comes with Nick Fury or her leading up to Infinity War and other stuff. Well, there has to be a reason that they want to go back. So,
well, let me cut you off because I'll tell you, and this may change like what you're saying. So the villains for these movies were announced are called the Skrulls. The Skrulls are a big-time alien race, and they're known for obviously trying to take over planets and whatnot. Their biggest attribute is they can shapeshift, and there was a big comic book storyline. Yeah, kind of. There was a big storyline back in the day. I think it was Secret Invasion. And what happened was they were picking off certain Marvel characters or certain Marvel Avengers. So at one point, Cap got kidnapped. One of them shapeshifts as Cap, and they were like embedded there for like sometimes. I think some characters were there. It went back that they were this character for like 10 years or 5 years.
So you're thinking they could do that with a character like Captain America?
I don't think they'll pick a main guy like that. I don't think they'll pick one of your core Avengers, but I could see... I don't think it would be this, but someone like a War Machine of that level, of someone close to friend. I don't
think that would have enough impact.
But I think if they play it off, it would. I don't want them to retcon and say, hey, in Winter Soldier, Captain America was secretly a Skrull. I don't like when they do stuff like that, so that's why if it's something like War Machine, and that could explain the recasting of War Machine too. So there you go, like, oh, it looks a bit different now. So
that would be really funny. If it's like, I'm just picturing like all of these movies, they have all the timeline, all the phases planned out, all of it is just so they can like fill in that plot hole of why that actor changed. That'd be so funny.
Yeah, and then the thing with the Skrulls is what you could do is maybe set up the shape-shifting, and let's say it's not one of the core members, but let's say after Infinity War, we've talked about this, the Secret Invasion is a big storyline. That could be the next big thing, and they could set it up where, let's say Infinity War happens, everyone's hunky-dory and fine, and then one of them is kidnapped, and then it's just like, it's, let's say it's like a Downey, okay? It wouldn't be him, but he's kidnapped, and then he comes back into the Skrull. This might be a way to set it up so when it happens, it's not weird, like, who are these people, like, why are they shapeshifters? You'll see this, and maybe they'll be defeated, and then I would like that more than, hey, in Winter Soldier, this was a fake Cap, but I think you could do that. Imagine, let's say Cap survives, he gets kidnapped, and then the next Avengers movie, you know that this Cap is like a mole and he's secret, and that would also be, I think, a big plot of that happened in them, like, they built a scanner to figure it out, and at one point, of course, it went off in the room, and it's this thing of like, okay, who's it? And like, I think you could do a good, like, really paranoia storyline. So I think honestly, there's two reasons. I think that's why it's in the 90s, and I think she's going to be in Infinity War, and this movie comes out. So I honestly think, like, shout out to DC, I think they're pulling a Wonder Woman, where they introduce her in BVS and tell her story in the past, because I think that's what they're doing. And they saw it, and they're like, for the first time, like, hey, DC did something that works, we're going to do it. So
steal that.
What does the villain Skrull thing change your opinion? Because this has been something people have wanted for a while. They didn't know if they were going to do it because Fox own they own the Super Skrulls, but they just can't use certain like leaders. So they can use these shapeshifters though still.
Yeah, no, I love that idea. I mean, my initial thought was, make Captain America evil. And maybe that would kind of ruin some of the quality or emphasis of like the storylines that happen in some of those movies, but I think that could be a lot of fun, watching this movie, and there could be like hints here or there of like, okay, which character,
and you're trying to guess and figure it out, and
just thinking about like all the movies you've seen and like, okay, which character is actually one of these Skrulls. So yeah, I don't know, I think that's a really cool potential story, and that's like officially announced that the Skrulls are part of it.
They're the villains of Captain Marvel, and that was the thing, because the thing with Fox, people weren't sure, and this is something kind of funny, like a DC Flashpoint people have been talking about for a while, and I talked about a little bit, I think, on Dynamic Duo a while, because it's just that thing of, after Thanos, you do need a big bad. Clearly, Doctor Doom is not coming over from what we kind of found out this weekend. So that would be a good point, because it does end in, like, the Secret Invasion ends in, like, good guys versus, like, and you have, like, the Skrulls, like, I'll try and find a photo for you guys, but they're, like, these green-looking motherfuckers.
Green-looking motherfuckers.
Yeah, like they at one point there's like a iconic image of all of them looking like that, and they're in like the Iron Man costume, the Cap costume, so you can kind of have this fun like this duality.
Yeah, the more we talk about this, I think this could be really interesting because so many of these Marvel movies, while I haven't seen one that I really dislike, you know, they are very similar.
They got a structure
in a lot of ways. Yeah, they have like just a very similar structure. So this is a big opportunity to really take a 180 and just go down like a different route because it's not in today's day and age. And obviously, like they already have like all this history and stuff that they have set up, and so they can just align this movie so that it all works there because they already have a ton of movies. So,
and Taylor, before I go to you, the only thing, and I'll say this, I've said before, Marvel's doing better with their villains, so I have more hope. I don't want to say it because Spider-Man: Homecoming spoiler, but the way they're handling villains, I like. So I have faith. I will tear them to shreds if this is just a one-off and they just use it as like, oh, a Skrull was disguised as a president and that's who Captain Marvel had to figure out. Like, I want this to be now a setup for the future. If they don't do like a Skrull turning into a war machine or Cap, if it's just used for this movie, fans like myself, I have been looking forward to this so well, and it's a massive storyline. It's like a Civil War. It's like Infinity War. I don't want like a Harry Potter series. I'm just saying you could easily do Avengers: Secret Invasion as a movie. If this is just used for Captain Marvel as a device and just like these villains, and they don't do like the real like Secret Invasion or like some version of it, I'll be really disappointed. So that's my only worry. But I think with it being in the 90s, that's maybe what they're setting up.
When does this movie come out? Do we know?
No, I don't think they put an official release date. I think it'll come out after those two Avengers movies. So
after Infinity War 1 and 2?
I think so. 2018, 2019. I could see 2020.
Really?
2020 or 2019. Yeah, because I don't think they've put an official date. While Taylor's talking, I will take a look, but I don't think they've said anything like official.
These villains, they really intrigue me. I think they sound really, really cool. I love how they had like the alien race, like the Jatari attacking in Avengers. I think it's really cool to have aliens attacking.
And people were really disappointed in Avengers that said that we have aliens, and that was these made up ones like, oh, not the Skrulls. So this has been like seeded for a while. People are like, when are we getting the Skrulls? So
I think that, you know, if they're planting something for the future movies for us to find out, I think that's awesome. I feel like, you know, the whole movie could be based, like you said, maybe it's like Captain Marvel facing off against the president who's a Squall or something like that. And then in like the secret end credit, it shows one of the Avengers, or it shows a
like
Squall
Nick Fury
doing
could
something.
be a Skrull.
That's what I was thinking. That my first thought was
Skrull, by the way.
In Infinity War, like part 1, the post-credit scene is you see what character it is, and then in the second one it plays out. Like, that could be so cool.
Well, and what if while they're at space, like, defenses are down, that's how Skrulls kind of, like, work their way into it, right? Like, while they're dealing with this huge, massive thing when they get back, a Nick Fury or, like I said, or maybe a Bruce Banner, I don't know if work, but they'll figure it out. Or a Scarlet Witch, somebody like that, so...
You have to imagine that they've already been thinking about this for a few years, so there's probably some really elaborate story there.
I don't know why I say this, because it's Marvel and we always say it and then they just do it, but it's just like, I just don't want it to be thrown away, you know, because it just sounds, even as we're...
Big opportunity here.
Yeah.
I don't think they throw it away. I mean, everything that they've implanted has been there for the long run. It has made mentions or nods in future movies. So I feel like when they're focusing on something like this, and they're making a point of, okay, we're doing another... origin prequel film at this time period with this specific enemy that can do all these things. Like, they're well aware of what they're capable of, and I'm sure they've thought about where they're going to implement them next, especially when you have Infinity War just around the corner.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, I hope. It's just it's always the little fanboy me like, no. It comes out March 2019, so it comes out in between the Infinity War 1 and 2.
Ah, so they could do that.
So my wonder is if Avengers Infinity War ends with her in a post-credit scene, or they introduce her at the end or in the middle of that movie, and then you get a movie in between, and then she has a bigger role in Avengers 4.
Why do you think she's not going to be like one of the mainstay characters of the first?
I think Avengers. Because we haven't met her, I think it will be...
Well, we have, though. I mean, we met her in Civil War, right?
Who?
Captain Marvel?
No.
Well, didn't they... Well, yeah.
No.
Isn't it Brie Larson?
But she's not been in a movie yet.
She was in Civil War.
No, she wasn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm picturing... I totally messed up Captain America's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Sharon Carter. Yeah, they look like... No, she's not been in one yet. So
right.
I think that's why I think she could be in space. Yeah. I think she'll be patrolling that, may help the Avengers, and it's like, who's this character? Well, next year you can find out this, and then when you have this backstory, it's exactly like Wonder Woman. You think about it.
It is.
BVS, Wonder Woman, then Justice League. It's the exact same thing. Look at that. Marvel taking a little bit from DC. They take the one successful thing DC has. Like, oh, we'll scoop that up. Like that art play.
That's why they gave him Joss Whedon.
Yeah, that was the trade.
Tips here.
yeah, insider. They're doing this and they're doing this.
He's the Skrull. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're doing a time traveling movie next year. So
Marvel is all just aliens.
Yeah, so that got me. Captain Marvel, who I know a little bit about, but I'm not like an uber fan. This got me very excited between Nick Fury and the Skrulls. Ant-Man had some casting. This was fucking huge for myself. I said this many times in the cast. This woman made me become a man. Michelle Pfeiffer, White Gold, the original Catwoman, has been cast as Janet Van Dyke, the original Wasp. So in Ant-Man, when the Wasp went missing, Michael Douglas' wife, Hank Pym's wife, it was this, where is she? And kind of like alluding the second they're going to try and find her. This is who it is. I think this is... I'll always love this woman, but I think she's a phenomenal actress, so I think this is a good choice, and I'm excited to see what they do with her, and that means she'll be coming in, so I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm. I don't have as much of an emotional attachment to her as you do, so I think it's cool, but yeah, we'll see.
Michelle Pfeiffer, you know, she's awesome, Catwoman, really, really good. I wasn't expecting it. I mean, but, you know, right on. I think that's awesome. You know, she's back in a superhero movie, so that's pretty cool.
You gotta watch those OG Batman still.
Someday.
Yeah, someday.
And you can watch her in retrospects.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great choice, and I'm really excited to see, it's Wasp, right? The original Wasp?
I thought Wasp, yeah.
So I'm excited to see her come back, and then where that'll stem off for, like, the new generation Wasp. And all that, so it's cool.
New generation Wasp.
Yeah, and then they also announced, I had to pull up the Marvel Wikipedia. I always try not to, because I always try to, like, test my fan knowledge. They announced the villain of Ant-Man the Wasp was going to be the Ghost. I've seen him or her in the comics before. I don't know that much, so I pulled the Wikipedia. A woman is cast as the Ghost. It's kind of been shown before that it's a man, but the thing is with the Ghost, you've never really known its identity. So I'll give you a quick history lesson. Little to nothing is known about the Ghost past history. Ghost was something of a legend in the electronics industry, but a few heard about the story, including industrialist Tony Stark. That is until Kerrigan Pax, which was a oil corporation executive, hired Ghost to drive the research and development. An electronics firm in financial trouble into bankruptcy. Roxxon had attempted to purchase... this is like a lot of stuff that's nothing. There's not much... I'm going to the other...
What kind of powers does Ghost have? I can tell you who Ghost is. Ghost is Jessica from GeekVerse podcast. That is who's known since day one.
The contest show. I had the other one put up, and now the internet's...
So what kind of powers does Ghost have?
Yeah.
Mind control?
It's very Iron Man techy. Like, that's
really?
Yeah, it's not like
I was thinking more magic.
No.
That's lame.
Yeah, no, it's not
lame.
that.
So is the Ghost more of an Iron Man kind of villain, or more of an Ant-Man villain?
It's more of Ghost is a Marvel villain primarily for Ant-Man and Deadpool. So they're kind of... That's why for me, I'm kind of caught off guard because I've not really heard much about the villain. It's not really an Ant-Man villain, so it wasn't somebody I was expecting to happen. So... yeah, I don't have much thought on this. I'm going to do research. I always do this. I did this with Guardians when they announced it. I'm going to read into it so I can kind of spout off some like fanboy facts. Hang on a second. I'm very close.
Looks interesting. Look-wise of the character. Looks like a kind of decayed, floating being.
That's what Taylor looks like.
I'd say very ghostly.
That's what I look like all the time.
Wow.
All the time.
Okay, finally. Abilities. Skilled marksman, brilliant inventor, tactician, skilled hacker, superb intellect, battlesuit grants, invisibility, and stealth technology. So it is very Iron Man-ish.
Iron Man with stealth.
Yeah. And then there's this big thing of, like, their alias was unknown. They're, like, unknown their age or date of birth. So it's always been, like, this kind of a ghost, and that's why they have the nickname. Like I said, I don't know that much, and
is the character's name, like, Jonathan Ghost or something?
I don't know, like, let me see if they even have because one Marvel wiki I pulled up, it still didn't even have the alias listed.
Oh wow!
Who was
still unknown to this very day?
Yeah,
it's
and
actually Stan Lee.
I have a feeling this is kind of. I have a feeling this is kind of like a very created in 1987, a very minor villain that they're just like, well, what can we use for Ant-Man that's not really gonna mess up the rest of the timeline. So
I actually like the look of Ghost. Those powers, I mean, they sound pretty fun. It seems like Ant-Man's quite outmatched. That's what I'll say. Honestly,
yeah. But now he has Ant-Man and the Wasp.
But I'd say that makes me more excited for the movie. I think Ghost looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the sound of it. I've been trying to look at find the exact alias of this person. But the other thing they announced is, you guys would know him a little bit from the Marvel Ultimate Alliance game. There is a character named Goliath, and he is someone that can go really, really big. They announced that they cast Lawrence Fishburne for it.
Really?
Yeah, and he's in the DC universe right now.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Traitor.
Yeah, he was in BVS.
He's a Skrull.
He's a Man of Steel. So, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, this is okay. So this comes from the Marvel. No, I got it again. I don't know. I'm gonna find at the end of this cast. I'm gonna fucking find the thing I had. I don't think there's anything else Marvel. Let's talk about Stranger Things season 2 trailer. The official trailer. Taylor, what did you think about that?
I thought, it was great. I loved how it started off where they're just going to the arcade. It just had that really old school nostalgic kind of just feeling to it, and just pulls you right in right away. And then that poor kid, geez, he's already got shit going topsy turvy for him already. I mean, Jesus. And
at least Winona Ryder's his mother.
Yeah. It was cool seeing that large Demogorgon or whatever. Demo.
Isn't it just a Demogorgon or Demogorgon? The fucking monster.
Yeah, the monster thing. So, that was really cool to see that right away. It's just this whole other upside down world is just coming back again, and it doesn't seem like there's really a government agency maybe a little bit, but it didn't seem like there was one agency working full on to.
I hope not. That guy was really lame in the first season.
He really did suck, but Earth needs some kind of protection here because this is not going to go well.
The cop.
The cop, he is awesome. He's one of my favorite characters.
Of all time? Top 10? I'm not going to put that pressure on you. You don't have to answer.
Give me a week. I'll get back to you.
Okay.
And 11 popped up in the trailer too, so that's always good. She's pretty hype. She's pretty hype. I'm just all around. I'm really excited to see what's going on, and I love that it just said Stranger Things 2. It didn't say season 2 or anything. I really, really like that for some reason. Knowing that it's a TV show and that's something usually you see with movies, I don't know. I like it, because the whole thing doesn't even feel like a show. It feels like a super long movie.
I found all that info. Show. Yeah, Ghost on Marvel Computer right now. Real name unknown. Current alias Ghost. Let's see. Miracle says single.
You're giving us a lot of useful information. I'm glad you interrupted our Stranger Things segment of the show.
Identity.
That we've been planning all week.
Identity, secret, and one of the big storylines was for him is it was a man. So I'm sure some people are gonna get mad, but I think if it's a character you don't even know the name, you can change it up. I don't think the sex really matters with this. I think it's the idea of the ghost. It was a thing that Iron Man maybe kind of classic maybe screwed him over a little bit, so he swore revenge. So that is a way that you could tie into Iron Man and Ant-Man and all that. So
you could get Robert Downey in the trailer.
Exactly.
Ant-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Sorry, I just wanted to find that because I had that. It's bugging me. So I promise you, by the time Ant-Man the Wasp comes out, I'll be more educated because I'll get my little eyes on those comic books. But back to Stranger Things season 2, Netflix. I guess it's just Stranger Things 2 as the trailer.
Well, it is season. The YouTube video says season 2,
but the video says 2.
Yeah, but that's cooler than writing season 2.
I know, but
here it is. I think 2 is cooler. I quite like this trailer. If you want to hear our thoughts on the first season, I don't think you were there for that review.
It was you, me, and Emily reviewed it a year ago today.
Yeah, that's actually true. That's not a lie. We did check. So yeah, I like this trailer. I like the pick of Halloween. I kind of forgot that was the day or the timeline or just whatever it is that they picked, because they did announce that a few weeks ago, or maybe it was in the first trailer. I don't really remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like that vibe of it, and they have their costumes and I don't know, jack-o'-lanterns crushing into the ground. That could be Green Goblin or someone similar.
Ghost Rider.
Hobgoblin, perhaps.
Yeah.
And then, the thriller theme in that, the build-up was really well done. Just, the shots that they showed, really beautiful. I would say I'm fairly excited for this. I think it'll be. I don't really know where they're going to go with the story. It kind of seems like it's
bigger.
It seems like the same thing but bigger. Like it seems like they're kind of hit the same strides and same themes and stuff like that. So I'm curious what they have packing in there. But get a nice money shot of all the characters. I love Winona Ryder, probably the greatest actress of all time. I'm just kidding.
Big star.
Great big star.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I thought this was a really good trailer, and I really liked the arcade scene at the beginning as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been saying for the past little while, I think this is going to be one of the most disappointing things. I just think, not even because quality, I just think the hype of the first one and how many people loved it and the nostalgia, I think a lot of people are going to be let down by it. I'm prepared for that, and I did the same thing with Guardians, and other than maybe a few other people, like Dylan and I are in the minority of thinking like Guardians 2 is better than the first one. And I think I'm going to have the same reaction where I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed by this season, but because I'm going in with lower expectations, I'll like it. I'm the same as Dylan. I actually totally forgot that was Halloween. I remember we talked about it the first time, but that, like the thrill of the way they spliced it, that made me so excited. I've talked about it many times. Halloween is legitimately my favorite holiday. It is the greatest day of the year. Like, it is... You get to see everyone's imagination run wild. You get an excuse to dress up like fucking weirdos. It's great. So that as the backdrop, I think that for me is gonna, from nostalgia-wise, get it over season 1. Because even if it's just the same thing, I love Halloween even more. The costumes, the pumpkins, the decorations, the trees, and I think it lets up for a lot of fun stuff. If that, like Demogorgon, like whatever his name is, like ends up
Demogorgon.
Demogorgon ends up like out on Halloween night. It's that thing of like, oh, was that a costume? Like, there's lots of fun they could play. That I thought the trailer was great. And this is coming from someone that I'm expecting to disappoint. That trailer got me to the point of now I'm actually really excited. That teaser they released a few months ago was good, but it didn't get me to that point where I'm like, oh, this could be on par with the first one. I don't know if we'll do that because that's very tough. It was a really, really good season. But I am looking very, very forward to this. They showed 11, so obviously they showed that she didn't die. She just kind of evaporated, went to the upside down, which they showed. I didn't know what that kid's name is from the first one, but they showed, like...
Josh,
like, him being affected. It seems like he can go in and out of the upside down. Maybe not by choice, but it looks like 11 can go in by choice.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really, really, like, a really fun play. Like, just a given scene where everything seems normal and then they just do that switch on you. I think they could do that.
Yeah, and everyone's back, so that's good. The kids have good chemistry. I think it's still like 8 or 10 episodes, so I'm excited for that. I love the first season, so if the show matches what that trailer just did, I have no more worries. You know, I think it's going to be a good time.
I wanted to touch on something you said of, you think this is going to disappoint? I don't know, because this show seemed like it's different than many other Netflix originals. It seemed like it gripped everyone, like everyone and their mother kind of thing.
That's why I think everyone. Disappointing.
But I think like a lot of those like really casual kind of people, just the fact that it's on their screen and they can watch it and they can see these characters, I feel like they're just gonna like it anyway.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think it's gonna be to the point where they're like, man, this show's fucking awful anymore. I just think it's like, to the point, like I bring up the Guardians thing, where the majority of people, everybody, even on our review, Tyler, Taylor, Kyle, all were like, oh, I really liked it, but it wasn't the first one, you know, and I feel that's, maybe disappointed is like a strong word, but I feel like that's going to be the narrative after season 2 comes out. Everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, it was fun, I like those characters, but it was nowhere near as the first one. Like, I feel like it's just that it was such in the zeitgeist and the nostalgia at the time. Stranger Things hit at the perfect time, and it came with, like, not much promotion. Like, I remember when I saw the trailer, no one was really talking about this, and when it hit hard, and that's the thing. Mm-hmm. It's a tough task when you have everybody watching, because then everyone will be talking about it, you know, and that's where I feel like now you have more eyes on it, you have more people going to pick apart, like, things like the Bard thing, you know, like, you have more, if plot holes are there, it's going to be, I'm trying to think what to equate it to, of something that dropped off big TV-wise, and it could end like Game of Thrones, where Game of Thrones just continued to build and build and build, and I hope it does. But, here's a good example. I didn't watch it, but I feel it could go the same way as Lost did, where everyone loved Lost, and they had their theories, and then as it kept going, people turned on and said it had a terrible ending, yada, yada, yada. That's my fear of this show, that people could not turn on as hard because they love these kids' character, but in a sense be like, oh, like that kind of like, not ruins, but tramples over the first one. Like, does this, so... I don't know, and the bigger thing...
I don't know, man. I think if they keep it short and sweet, like the first season, just clean 8 or 9 episodes with there's one main storyline and then certain characters pairing off and they get to know each other and you learn those characters through them interacting together. I don't know. I almost don't see how it could go that poorly. Like, yeah, some people might think, season 1's still great. It's still my favorite season. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to just wildly disappoint. I think people are still going to like it.
Yeah.
And, if some people set their expectations really high, expect to just blow the first one out of the water, you might be mistaken there. Like, for me personally, I'm not that kind of person. I've talked about this before. I try to set my expectations for everything at 50%. I just go in neutral and just let it take me where it will.
That's my problem. So, I think the people you're talking about mainstream because they don't do like what we do and talk about trailers and look at them.
Yeah.
I think with the love of the first one, these trailers, I think people are going to go in expecting to be blown away again, which is tough after Stranger Things 1. And I think they're going in, I honestly do, a lot of people think they're going to go in thinking it's going to be better than the first one. That's where I think that's where it's like this season could still be great, not even quality-wise, but I think the hype is so high. Like, Stranger Things on Facebook and Twitter is everywhere. Even before this trailer, like, everybody talks about it. They're like the fucking minions. Like, everybody and their mom is talking about Stranger Things Season 1 and how yada yada. And 80s is a big chord and had a lot of nostalgia with, like, E.T. vibes and Goonie vibes. Like, that's my thing is I think the hype is so high. I just don't know how they're going to put it out and everybody kind of be okay with it, Well,
like, I mean, you're never going to appease to everyone.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I really think that those casual people, that they're just going to be happy that it's on their screen. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be enough for a lot of people.
Where do you fall on this?
I think I don't doubt it's gonna be great. I mean, I feel like I don't like I was more than happy with the trailer, and after seeing like the first season, like I mean it's a safe thing to do to go in there with like, as you said, like the 50% kind of like don't like expect but just kind of be cautious at the same time. But I mean, after that trailer, I really feel like it's gonna be a great season. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they don't overdo it. They don't go like 5 or 6 seasons and it builds up to a bad ending. Hopefully they know that sometimes less is good and maybe they'll stop at like a season 3, or maybe this will be its last season. Who knows? But I feel like Netflix will know what they're doing, and I'll just watch it and see.
That's something I'm really curious about too. Actually, is if this season once again is setting up for more. And I think that'll affect people's hype for a lot, too. Because if this seems like a final season and, it doesn't deliver, then maybe people will be disappointed. Yeah. But if it has another ending that's like, we could do more, then people don't... The hell was that? It was really loud noise. But people might not feel like... If there's more to come, they might just, like, not feel like it's the end. And... they might not have like a definite opinion on it there. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, with the first season, I felt for me it could go either way. I wanted more because the way it did end, I was like, okay, we need more. I could have saw it being perfect as far as that being like a little cliffhanger, like a decide for yourself sort of thing of like if they did, because it was rumored at first to be an anthology series. Right. So if they did that, I was like, okay, I get it. That season works, and I can move on. But at the same time, I want more. I do wonder if they do another season. I honestly think we'll have to see how it plays out, but. I think 3 is like the cap. I think 2, like I could see this being the last one, but I think if this goes with these characters, they could do a Stranger Things like whatever subtitle, new story, new.
But can't you just see it now? Stranger Things, but the A is turned into a 4, season 4.
Strange 4 stick. But that's what I wonder. I don't even know at the end of this season. I think. To me, season 2 is going to answer a lot of questions I had in season 1. But once those are answered, they'll also could pose new ones. But I even question if it can go more than 2 seasons, I think it makes sense to do it with the kids. The kids are really popular. There's this, like, they're going to grow up, so it's better than being like, oh, then we're going to do Stranger Things, like, based on the Demogorgon, like, 5 years later. It's like, no, you lose the cuteness, you lose the chemistry. So I think this is the time. I think 3 is the most, but I don't want them to do too many with these kids.
And when is this coming out again?
October, I think it's like 22nd, something like that. So
right by Halloween?
October, big month for. You got that. You got Saw. You got Assassin's Creed for you. So there you go.
Big horror movie.
Do you guys have? That was the scariest movie I saw last year, actually. So.
Fassbender.
Yeah.
I get nightmares of that.
Do you guys have anything else to add on Stranger Things or anything else before we head on out of here?
No.
No?
I don't think so.
No.
Jesus.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I looked. It wasn't much news, so I think we've covered pretty much everything. If anything comes out now, someone will talk about in the future, whatnot. Doesn't look like no Infinity War trailer for sure. So again,
it'll drop as soon as this cast ends.
Of course, it's how it always goes. Well then, Taylor Field, where can they find us on the interwebs?
Well, all of you ladies and geeks out there, you can find us.
Wow.
I get what you did, but like it kind of seems a little offensive. Like you're saying,
I did not mean
it
it offensive. All you geeks and guys out there, then.
Okay.
It's even worse.
And then someone's gonna be like, "Oh, it's just not ladies."
With your internet connection, you can go onto Google or just outright type in your Facebook and go into your search bar. And on your search bar, you can type in GeekVerse Space Podcast. And you're gonna find all of this great stuff, like this episode and every other thing we've done for Comic-Con.
Lots of coverage.
Lots of covers. Like, holy fudge. There's so much to cover. And you know what? That's what we do. We cover it. Because we're covering covers.
We love covers.
We love covers.
I love covering Shmi in a blanket.
Wow.
Is that everything you have to say?
That's all I got.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Comic-Con weekend. This was, I think we had a lot of fun. We did a lot of casting. My voice is actually feeling
I'm a little tired right now.
Yeah. I can feel it. I can feel
that long of a day relative to like E3, but I'm still tired.
I feel my words slurring a little here and there more than often. So, but like Taylor said, go back and check. We did a bunch of casts from the start until today. We have a special dynamic duo dropping tomorrow, so that's going to be kind of the capper off of Comic-Con weekend. Next week, Hunka Hunka will be back, so they're going to talk about a lot of stuff. I can't wait to see my brother and what's that guy's name again? It changed all the time. I can never remember.
It's impossible to say what it is right now.
Yeah.
It's like Schrodinger's cat. You never really know what his name is.
Oh, God. So there's still some Comic-Con coverage, so please subscribe and like and review us. If you've liked anything we've done this weekend, a like and a subscribe and a review helps us out a lot.
You know, don't forget to, like, all this stuff that we're talking about today, all these comic book movies and Stranger Things, we're going to have a review up there immediately for it, so come back.
Mm-hmm. Or check out our past reviews. Like you said, Stranger Things Season 1, we reviewed every comic.
A lot of Marvel stuff,
all the Star Wars Force Awakens, as we talked about today.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes, and then for myself, I want to thank everybody on the crew this weekend that helped me out. As I said before, I'm taking a little break, a little hiatus. If I've not been clear enough, I had a beautiful baby girl, Gwen Summer Snail. She is healthy, she is fine, so is my lady. So I love doing this. The podcast has been a fun ride these past 2 years. It is a lot of work, though, especially GeekVerse, the main show, as far as scheduling, as far as, you know, luckily Ruben does some of that now, but thumbnail and planning news and planning this and setting this up, and we have technical difficulties. And I love all that, but it can get a little tiresome, and it takes a lot of time. Right now, so far, it could change, it's only been a week, but so far, I love being a dad, so I don't want to miss out on certain moments. There's only a small window of when this person's a little peanut to when they grow up and hate me. So, you know, when they hate me, I'll be back here podcasting 24/7, but no, I'm going to be gone for a little bit. I'll still be on spin-off shows, so you'll see me. I'm on a lot of pre-recorded stuff we have, too, so, like, I'm gone, but just kind of, like, I'm like Thanos right now. I'm gonna be keeping an eye on him.
He's gonna hurl a moon at us.
Oh yeah, if you guys do that, I'm taking a moon outside that window and throwing it. But yeah, and I said this last time, I'm looking very much forward to watching as a fan, not knowing what you guys are gonna talk about, not knowing what news you're covering, and these guys are gonna do great. They can carry the ship. They're gonna do phenomenal. They're great talents. I could not do this without them. So I thank you guys for this weekend. I cannot wait to come back, but until then, please have a fun time. Please support these guys. I will see you. Actually, I do not know when I'll see you, but when the man comes around, it will not be boring. Thank you very much.
The thing is, you can't guarantee that, because you won't be there to guarantee the quality. It might be really boring.
Well, I said when I come back. That's why I said the man. I pulled a cash quote. You know, when the man comes around, it won't be boring. It won't be boring. Thank you, everybody.